In a dramatic turn of events, the United States and China have agreed to temporarily slash tariffs on each other's goods, easing tensions that threaten global economic stability. But as the dust settles, a provocative question looms. Is the U.S. falling into China's trap? Let's unravel this high-stakes deal and expose how China might be outplaying the U.S. in a calculated game of economic chess. Just days ago, the world was staring down an escalating trade war. The U.S. had slapped 145% tariffs on Chinese imports, and China hit back with 125% tariffs on American goods. Markets were in turmoil, and a global recession seemed imminent. Now, in a stunning announcement from Geneva, both sides have agreed to a 90-day truce. U.S. tariffs dropped to 30%, and Chinese tariffs to 10%. Effective May 14, 2025. On the surface, it's a sigh of relief for businesses and consumers. But dig deeper, and the picture is far more troubling. In China, the reaction is one of unbridled triumph. State media and social platforms like Weibo are erupting with celebration, claiming Beijing's negotiators forced the U.S. to back down. The hashtag US-China suspending 24% tariffs within 90 days has exploded with 420 million views. One user, Chunfeng Yiran, posted, "Our ancestors didn't cave in. Why should we give up what we have?" A sentiment like thousands of times. Chinese state media is doubling down, insisting no concessions were made, with cartoons mocking U.S. negotiators as desperate shoppers with empty carts. This isn't just propaganda, it's a deliberate strategy to paint China as the victor, both at home and abroad. Contrast that with the U.S., where President Trump is calling this a historic trade win, arguing it paves the way for American businesses to access Chinese markets. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent claims both sides see the value in sustainable trade, but here's the hard truth. This deal is a pause, not a solution. Tariffs from before April 2nd, including those tied to the fentanyl crisis, remain untouched, and there's no concrete commitment from China to address the U.S.'s core demands, ending intellectual property theft, reducing trade imbalances, or opening markets. Critics are sounding the alarm. Is the U.S. giving up leverage for a fleeting moment of stability? So how is China playing the U.S. through this deal? Let's break it down. First, narrative control. China's state-run media, from CCTV to Xinhua, is framing this as a complete victory, claiming Beijing stood firm while the U.S. caved. This isn't just about domestic morale, it's about shaping global perceptions. By portraying the U.S. as desperate, China gains a psychological edge in future talks, making it seem like the U.S. needs the deal more. Second, a history of broken promises. Flashback to 2020, when China signed the Phase 1 trade deal, promising to buy $200 billion more in U.S. exports. The result? Zero follow-through. Not a single dollar of those promised purchases materialized. Now, with this deal light on specifics and heavy on vague promises like a new consultation mechanism, is the U.S. setting itself up for another betrayal? Third, a strategic pause. The 90-day tariff rollback is a lifeline for China's struggling economy, grappling with unemployment and deflation. By agreeing to temporary relief, China buys time to regroup without committing to long-term reforms. If talks stall, tariffs could snap back, putting the U.S. in the hot seat to make further concessions. It's a classic move. Give a little now, gain a lot later. Fourth, the consultation trap. The deal's new consultation mechanism sounds cooperative, but it could be a masterstroke for China. By keeping the U.S. at the negotiating table, China can drag out talks, delay structural changes, and extract benefits while offering little in return. It's a tactic straight out of Beijing's playbook. Promise cooperation, deliver procrastination. And let's not overlook rare earths, a critical leverage point. China agreed to lift some export restrictions on rare earth minerals, vital for U.S. industries like tech and defense. But in the same breath, its Commerce Ministry reaffirmed crackdowns on rare earth smuggling, citing national security and blaming foreign entities. This mixed messaging keeps the U.S. dependent on China's goodwill, a dependency Beijing can exploit at any moment. Experts are sounding warnings. Scott Kennedy, a trade analyst, called this 100% a retreat by the U.S., not a Chinese cave. Alicia Garcia Herrero from Natixis described it as a more civilized way to divorce, suggesting both sides are managing a slow economic split, not reconciling. Dmitry Grozubinski from the Geneva Trade Platform doubts any real rebalancing will happen, noting that China's role as the world's manufacturing hub and the U.S. as its biggest consumer won't shift in 90 days. Yet some see a silver lining. Dan Ives from Wedbush Securities called it a best-case scenario, with markets soaring, Dow futures up over 2%, Hang Seng nearly 3%. But JP Morgan Chase warns that lingering tariffs could still shave 0.7% to 1% off global GDP, a reminder of the stakes. For businesses, the uncertainty is palpable. Jens Eskelund from the EU Chamber of Commerce in China said companies need predictability, not another round of talks. And with China's economy still boasting a trade surplus, with the U.S. exceeding $100 billion, Beijing has the upper hand to keep playing hardball. So what's next? The next 90 days are a crucible. Will China honor its commitments, or will it repeat its 2020 playbook? Is the U.S. conceding too much by slashing tariffs without ironclad guarantees? Can a comprehensive deal even be reached in such a short window, or is this just a delay in the inevitable? And what does this mean for the global stage, where Europe and others are watching this economic chess match unfold? One thing is certain, this is no checkmate. It's a calculated move in a larger game where China seems to be playing several steps ahead. The U.S. may have bought time, but at what cost? In the battle for economic supremacy, every decision counts, and this deal might just be China's opening gambit to tilt the board in its favor.